Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of Thraben, you here for another Legacy video. Today's video, as always, is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and we'll take a look at them after round 1. Today we have another one of Matt H's deck lists, and we are going to be giving people the horns with Didgeridoo. For 3 mana, you can put a Minotaur permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. And wouldn't you know it, there's a decent number of scary-sized Minotaurs that you can cheat into play. Some of them allow you to dominate combat, whereas others essentially just give you extra combat steps, which is pretty horrifying. And then you have Sethron Hurloon General, and whenever it or another non-token Minotaur enters the battlefield, you get a 2/3 Minotaur token, and you can also use your extra mana to pump Minotaurs. So generally speaking, we are going to pump mana into Didgeridoo to cheat large creatures into play. And we can even use Urza's Saga as a way to tutor up the Didgeridoo, which is why we're not maxing out on the full playset of them. Although, generally speaking, I almost feel like we should still run the full 4 anyway, but if we kind of follow some of the logic that the painter decks have taken in recent times, it's okay to go down on a card that's central to your strategy if you can search it up with Urza's Saga later. And if that wasn't enough spice for you already, we are also a standstill deck. So generally speaking, our plan is throw down a Didgeridoo and play a standstill, and then we get to cheat stupid Minotaurs into play while our opponents can't cast spells, or we get to draw 3 cards. And while under a standstill, we can also play an Urza's Saga, and then that allows us to win through our own standstill without having to crack it. So this is the deck's general game plan, and there's also some plan Bs. We're probably never going to hardcast a Shark Typhoon, but cycling it while under a standstill is a legacy-proven strategy that has done very well for a lot of people. As far as the sideboard goes, we've got kind of some of the usual legacy staples in the sideboard that you should expect, as well as a couple of spicy meatballs to ruin someone's day. I think the gameplay is going to speak for itself here. Let's cheat some Minotaurs into play. This is one of those decks that is probably going to do disgusting things in some round and then flop over and die in other rounds. And the reason for that is we're not very good at beating resolved cards. And if you take a look at the cards in this deck list, it's very clear. The plan is not to let opponents resolve stuff. The plan is, oops, accidentally kill you with Minotaurs, oops, accidentally kill you with Urza Saga tokens, or drown you in cards. There's no Swords to Plowshares here. There's no Lightning Bolt here. So when something is in play, the answer is beat it in combat, which is probably going to lead to some really warped patterns and to Force of Willing some things that I normally wouldn't Force of Will in a blue deck. But let's kind of see how it goes. If you're new here and you like what you see today with these ridiculous Minotaurs, please consider subscribing for more content, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay. This is a reasonable hand that can play a standstill backed by a Force of Will and then try to find an Urza Saga. I'm going to keep this hand. I don't think this hand is exciting, but I think it's probably good enough to keep. Although, honestly, it becomes a little awkward if my opponent just, like, plays a Dragon Rage Channeler or something on turn 1 and then backs it up with a counterspell. Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal. I will let a Lotus Petal resolve. I would probably force a Crumb Box there, though. This is going to be a white initiative deck. Oh, no, I'm wrong. It's a Storm deck. Do I pitch the Brainstorm or the Standstill? Probably the Brainstorm, though it's a good Brainstorm. Let's intend on slowing the pace of this game to a crawl as I drop a Standstill. Yes! We'll play the Urza Saga this turn. Then let's fetch. Be a Volk, that's fine. We'll drop a Standstill. Now, secretly, this Standstill is not super good right now. Like, my opponent can just, like, give me a draw 3, and it's not the end of the world. And Didgeridoo our way to victory in the not too distant future. I'm gonna grab a basic. I don't. Maybe should have grabbed the basics both times. I don't think I need to put the Minotaurs into play immediately. Although, I don't put one into play now, I have to draw another land before I can do that. Is that fine? Or I can just put 6 power into play. I'm probably supposed to put this into play. Alright, grab my Didgeridoo. Activate the Didgeridoo. Put this into play. That accelerates damage much faster than putting one more artifact token into play. Like, especially if I can activate the Didgeridoo again. Alright. I get a draw 3. I found a Force of Will. I don't have a blue card to pair with it, but I think that's fine. Hopefully it's fine. I probably would have Force of Willed that if I had a blue card. This is +1/+0. Menace and Haste. And if you think back to a couple turns ago when I said the Standstill wasn't that good, this is kind of what I mean. Because, like, I want the Standstill to be looking for both Force of Will and blue card, and I had neither at the time. Is that a Galvanic Relay under there? No, it's a Gamble under there. Sure. Alright, LED happens. I cannot stop that. Burning Wish. Okay. Are we peering? We are peering. Alright, at this point, I assume that I am dead. My opponent's going to play out a whole bunch of artifact mana, and I'm going to die, so I'm going to skip to the good part. Alright, and about 5 spells later, we have a Burning Wish for Tendrils of Agony, and I am dead. I lost that one purely for not having a blue card to go with Force of Will. Okay, don't think you need to show the hand there, but thanks. So, Force of Negation is a slam dunk. Blasts are playable for Echo of Eons. Playline is playable for Echo of Eons. Craftaker's Cage is technically playable as well for Echo. Spellbomb to bounce a Burgie out of play isn't insane. I guess what don't I want? Pithing Needle's okay for Hornfell. Soulguide Lantern is probably worse than Grafdigger's Cage, although Soulguide Lantern helps with Rite of Flame specifically. Need a higher blue card count for Force of Negation. Probably get rid of Currency Converter. That gets me a blue card, and then I drop like one random Minotaur. What do I drop? Maybe one Sethron. Keep this. It messes with Burgie that gets into play. Do I want, like, a Fury to mess with Burgie? Maybe not. Okay. It's a little awkward that, like, I have the Force of Negation and Standstill at the same time, but I still think this one is probably a keep. It has a counterspell, and I get to put a Didgeridoo into play on turn 1 with 2 Minotaurs to follow it up. It will need to draw another land. I think that's fine. I could also consider playing Urza Saga on turn 1 to immediately start working towards Grafdigger's Cage, but then it's harder for me to actually Didgeridoo, so I think that's wrong. A Volcanic Island, and let me play you the Song of My People. Fence Grid would be scary as a turn 1 play. Why do I talk? Why do I ever talk? I guess I'm counterspelling that, because if I don't, my Force of Wills are never live. But this does make my hand considerably worse, because I was really leaning on that Standstill to hit my next land drop. That is what it is. I've got 2 Didgeridoos, which I'm mostly playing out to make Urza Saga constructs larger. Okay. Yes. Land, 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 land. Land. Okay. So, I make a 3/3, then a 4/4, then 2 5/5s. While also fetching up something else. What is this? Hornfell. Okay, sure. Opponent doesn't have red mana right now, though. Okay. Finishing my thought, so I'd be a little surprised to see them attempt to go for it right now. Yep, LED's fine. Last card, an Echo. I guess I can discard their last card and try to hit an Echo, because that would be 3/6. I think I win if they pass the turn. Oh, fuck, it's an Echo. Alright. think I don't respond here. I don't need to put in things with Didgeridoo. Force of Negation is fantastic, but a little hard to use because, like, my opponent can turn every card in their hand into 2 cards. I think I lose this game for not playing Urza Saga out on turn 1. Burgie occurs. That doesn't get Force of Negation, unfortunately. So, life's pretty bad. Until my opponent hits a defense grid, I'm maybe okay. Once a defense grid happens, I'm pretty scared. Not that Galvanic Relay is great for me either. Ooh. Empty's rough. It's up to 1, so I don't completely dominate combat. I can't just make a billion Goblin tokens block. Okay. I am trying to pick a spot here, but it's very hard to pick a spot while this LED is sitting in play. But, like, it just means that my opponent has enough mana and multiple Burning Wishes. My opponent has more than enough mana to kill me multiple different ways. I have to attempt to counter a Burning Wish, and then the second Burning Wish happens. I die to Tendrils at that point. So, I Force of Negation here. Opponent just does it again. There's another Burning Wish. I have to cycle Shark Typhoon here and hit a blue card. Means I'm not making an Urza Saga Construct token, which sucks for me. I'm paying the 2 life. Like, I'm very dead if my opponent casts any sort of Storm spell. Alright. Force of Will. Not Force of Will. Okay, this is Burning Wish for Tendrils and I'm dead. And this stuff probably would have beaten me too. Alright. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by moxfield.com, which is a deck building site for Magic the Gathering. If you're like me and you make a lot of deck lists, and I'm talking like 5 or more a week, you might be kind of frustrated with how hard it can be to find them in some databases. Worry not, Moxfield has all of these nice hubs that you can use to kind of mark your deck lists to make them more easily searchable and findable by other people who are building similar things as you are. Okay, so I'm not sure that this hand has what it takes on the draw. So my opponent gets a chance to play something on turn 1 and something on turn 2 before my Standstill comes down. And the second Standstill's not very good. I don't have removal spells in my deck, and I don't have any counter spells right now. I don't have a Didgeridoo, I don't have an Urza Saga. I think despite having a very reasonable mix of lands and spells, and air quotes good spells, I think I just go to 6 here. Nope, this one is not reasonable, I don't think. Well, I could just keep this pitching Chromox and plan on casting a 5/4 on turn 4. That's unexciting, but might be better than going to 5. I like this better than the first hand. Some people in the comments are absolutely losing their shit right now after I mulligan that first hand because it didn't have a plan. But, like, I think in this initiative-fueled world right now, you just can't keep a hand that looks like that first one. I let that resolve. I don't care about that card. Okay. This is awkward. It has to get Volcanic Island. I might want to play it right now anyway because of Archon being a thing that can happen. Okay, cool. I get a turn off here. And then I should expect initiative stuff to just start coming into play next turn. Brainstorm's a pretty medium draw right now. Again, the whole goal here is to just keep initiative creatures out of play. And if I didn't say this, I kind of expected my opponent to be on a mid-range deck of this general nature, given their history. Ooh, they're going the full 8. Alice on 1. Is that worth a Force of Will? When I don't have a blue card to pair with the other one? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that that is not worth a counterspell. I know what my opponent is doing. I know what I need to stop. I can take hits from Thalia basically forever. I'd rather have 2 Force of Wills backing up something like this and be able to stop 2 initiative creatures. I'm at 14. Alright, Seasoned Dungeoneer could happen now. It is Caves of Chaos Adventurer instead. Force of Will that, pitching my Brainstorm, and hope to draw a blue card or a land next turn. Alright, that is blue card. That is A-okay with me. Yeah, you have to fight over the cards that matter versus the initiative deck. You have to just keep these things from hitting play. Alright, and now I just need to spike a red land so I can play this, and hopefully my opponent, is out of initiative creatures, because if I play another one here, I just lose the game. I'm already in trouble, because this puts me at 8 life, and that's a 4-turn clock. Okay. With no blue card to pair with that, I think I'm just dead to this. My opponent will be attacking me with potentially 2 large creatures next turn. Do I show them the Minotaur? So I can make a 5/4. Then they can just attack in with Thalia and Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I can attempt to play Sethron the following turn, but then crap is just going to beat me. I'd rather not show my opponent what I'm on here. Because, like, I've just shown them a Standstill. And them thinking I'm a reasonable control deck versus them thinking that I am Minotaurs is a very different situation. Again, though, I don't have very many cards that impact the board, which is a huge, huge problem for this matchup. These Furies are coming in. I need these 2 cards as well. Ruination is maybe not crazy. If my opponent is playing, like, Homes, Cities, 8 of the flippy lands, they're gonna have some basics. Oh, Urza Saga is so important to my own plan here, though. Let's get Spellbomb and Confluence in, and then we can decide if I'm going to be a mad lad and try Ruination. I also don't think it's crazy to play Force of Negation to attempt to force Chromux. Currency Converter is out for Spellbomb. What am I doing for Fiery Confluence? It may just be that, like, I can't stand still as effectively as I'd want since my opponent's creature density is so high. I could buy that. And I play Force of Negation, very aggressively going after Chromux to try and slow my opponent down to the point where I can Didgeridoo. Okay. This is not the best hand in the world, but it's what we've got to work with. I think this is going to be one of those times where I'm going to be happy with how I played this matchup, but I'm just on the wrong side of the power level curve here. You may Chalice on 1. I let that resolve last time around. I'm going to let it resolve this time around. Okay, with a blue card here, I can 100% jam a Standstill and be pretty darn happy about that. If I didn't draw the blue card there, it's risky, because I get 3 looks at a blue card with Standstill, and if it doesn't work, I'm in trouble. Okay. I would be jamming if I was the opponent as well. Alright, that is an Archon. I will draw 3. Do I counter this? Scalding Tarn enters tapped. I can play Chromux, imprinting like Fiery Confluence, and hold up Force of Will on the next thing. Use my mana to either Didgeridoo or Urza Saga. Issue here that I can basically never take Archon of Emeria out of play unless Boros Battleshaper gets involved. I think I just let that happen. Gotta fight over the good stuff. And Archon of Emeria is not the good stuff for this matchup anyway. Force of Negation is cool. Chromox is my 1 spell per turn. Potentially just pitch Force of Negation here. These individual blue cards are not doing me a lot right now. And having the potential to Fiery Confluence is potentially important. Alright, I gotta reread the text on this. Beginning of each combat, up to 1 target creature attacks or blocks this combat if able, and up to 1 target creature can't attack or block this combat. I can use this to keep Archon from attacking me. Alright, we Force a Will the initiative card. I do have to think about whether or not I want to Urza Saga. So I can have a 3/3, a 4/4, a 5/5 attack next turn. This is also a 5/5 attacking this turn, but it really disrupts combat. Let's put in Boros Battleshaper. Must attack or block. How about you? How is that trigger supposed to work? Oh, I'm supposed to click those at the same time. I see. Alright, let's just float mana here. Activate Didgeridoo, put that in. Put an Ether Spellbomb into play. I'll preemptively just fetch a basic here. I know that I'll want to use this in this cycle. Oh, I see. This is a singular ability. This is a very strange way to word this card. That's probably fine. Okay, tapped land. Okay, so click it the second time. You cannot block. And I just get to kill that in combat. Okay, cool. Minus the misclick. Okay. Sort of a tough hand. I don't have a Force of Will, which I think is very important. I do have a Didgeridoo. I can't Didgeridoo on turn 3 as of right now. Unless I play on Urza Saga and fetch Chrome Mox with it. I think I'm going to ship this hand and look for a Force of Will. Yes, and is much better than the previous one. Stopping that first initiative card is just so important. Also, my opponent has gone to 5 here. Alright. That's a good sign for me. I get to play my turn 1 Didgeridoo without having to think about it. I think this is fetching a basic island in case I randomly get Blood Mooned. That just feels like a good idea. I'm not super expecting it, given builds that I've been seeing, but, like, Magus of the Moon seems like a totally reasonable sideboard card. Okay. It's a Spirit Guide. Caves of Chaos Adventurer eats Force of Will here. Opponent doesn't have access to white mana yet, at least not showing. And I do have the ability to Didgeridoo next turn. I can also technically bounce a creature, but only gets me so far. I think if my opponent can play another initiative card here, they probably win. Ooh. Do I turn this into another card? I think I'm going to turn this into another card. Okay. Can get me another basic. I'm with the Spellbomb there, I was very much looking for... Nice. Another Minotaur, because that's what I'm going to need to close out this game. Let's get basics here in case that matters, since I do have another Volcanic Island in play already. There's Sethron. Oh, yeah. Let's put the other Volk into play. Attack for 6. Okay. Main Fury's pretty good. Kills my token. Or kills this, that's fine. So I'll Didgeridoo in response, which gives me another Minotaur. I go through combat here. That's a very reasonable draw, and I can sneak that in. Yeah, so I'll just kill the Fury in combat and then sneak that in. You must attack. What's the wording here? Must attack or block. I would like... Actually, no, I don't want to do that. How about you just cannot block? Let's just do that instead. This just kills my opponent very quickly. Puts my opponent to 3. And then I'll just Didgeridoo at my opponent's end of turn. This thing did some work here. Although, honestly, just mulliganing to Force of Will is what really did it. Okay. Yep, alright. GG's. Alright, round 3. Didgeridoo on turn 1. Ponder to activate it shortly thereafter. Although maybe if I end up playing against Prismatic Ending deck, I'm not supposed to play this out immediately. I know I'm looking for a Minotaur, so let's ponder for a Minotaur on turn 1. I want 2 of those. I don't want these lands. I actually think I'm going to take a random card here over 2 of those. That's a pretty good random card. Although I admittedly don't want to use it unless it is a legitimately scary card. More initiative? If this is a Chalice, I do unfortunately have to Force of Will it. Yeah. I have to get this Didgeridoo into play, otherwise my hand has no potential to do anything. Alright, good ponder turn 1. Although... basic? Probably basic. just in case. We'll slam a Didgeridoo, and now we are fully at the mercy of the top of my deck to deliver a reasonable card. And if it doesn't, I will die to whatever initiative card my opponent plays this turn. Yup. Okay, it's a Simian Spirit Guide into Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say I need to hit either a cantrip, an Urza Saga, or an initiative card this turn, or I'm dead. Because I'm just going to get hit for 7, then 7 plus 9. That's not the worst. That means I can take the initiative back. But it sure ain't a Minotaur. Thinking about whether or not I Ancient Tomb. I don't think I Ancient Tomb. I think a 1/1 shark is effectively the same as a 2/2 shark. I don't think I need to do this right now. Alright. These counters are scary. And Caves of Chaos Adventurer's trigger here is going to potentially give my opponent more card advantage as well. It's another Caves of Chaos Adventurer, which they probably can't produce the mana to play, but I would be very upset if I'm wrong. Yeah, it's just, air quotes, just a land drop. Let's Shark. Boros Battle Shaper. And that's pretty good here. So I will take the initiative. Oh, how many basics do I have in my deck? Was it a mistake to get a basic? Oh man, I really hope I have one more basic here. Okay, I do. Alright, was not a mistake to get a basic then. Alright. Play this, pass turn, put in Boros Battle Shaper, keep that from attacking. Didgeridoo in it! Alright, Boros Battle Shaper into play. Trigger. Caves of Chaos Adventure cannot attack or block, which keeps me with the initiative, which is the whole reason that we're fighting here. Yeah. I think this is still okay. Life loss isn't great for me, but I think I still just get to dominate combat. I make you not be able to block, I make you have to block, I attack with both of my creatures, and then I make you not able to attack on the next turn. I think I'm okay. Let's brainstorm now and just kind of further sculpt my game plan. Pithing Needle's not great. None of these cards are great, actually. Yeah. Guess I'll put them like this. It doesn't really matter. These cards are just here. Alright. Must block this turn. Can't block this turn. Alright, Boros Battle Shaper fucks now that I know how to physically click on the card and make it do the things that it is supposed to do. Alright, good stuff. I now take the initiative. Do I want this to be 7? 7 doesn't really force blocks here. I probably just forge the shark then. Okay, there's more coming. Okay. My opponent is getting dangerously close to Throne of the Dead 3. So this is a time where how priority works and how trigger stacking works is going to go in my favor. Wow, Sacred Foundry. Sacred Foundry untapped? Oh, do you have fucking Ephemerate? Oh no, you're gonna have that Spirit Realm or whatever card. Oh no, it's a Chalice on 1. Oh, that's totally fine. I thought you were about to get Throne of the Dead 3, and I was screwed. Okay, so. You must attack or block. You cannot attack or block. Alright. Cool. End of turn. Activate Didgeridoo. I guess I want to loot through my bad cards, so I'll play this one this turn. Rather than this one. It'd serve as an anthem. Alright. You must block. You can't block. This is admittedly pretty gross. Our opponent takes 8 here. I take the initiative. We'll trap my opponent. Put them to 3. I'll discard 2 of these. I'll keep the Minotaur. And do I want to do this now? I'd rather have it as a... Well, I could just do it now and then pump, but the pumping doesn't matter. Yeah, so I just won't. Good thing my opponent, like, never drew a Solitude, huh? Woo! Alright, Spellbomb in. Removal spells in. I think I ended up playing Force of Negation over some number of standstills. I went Lantern out, Needle out for Furies, I think. 2 standstills out for 2 Force of Negation. Currency Converter out for Spellbomb. And then how did I get the Fiery Confluence in? Trim 1 standstill, probably. And I keep the other standstill just as a blue card to pitch to Force of Wills. Okay. I am happy with these spells. These are fine spells. But I think on the draw, I just have to mulligan to Force of Will. Otherwise, that first initiative card beats me since I just have no removal. And this would not produce a creature quickly at all. I'm gonna go fishing. Fishing trip was successful. Just force pitching Brainstorm into Didgeridoo working, like Urza Saga working towards Didgeridoo pretty much immediately. And we saw how good Boros Battle Shaper is. When it's on 7, though, I let that one go. And whatever this is probably gets forced. Yep. Alright. Force of Will, that. Oh shit, I just drew a Didgeridoo. That's very helpful. Now I can spike Ancient Tomb as an incredibly powerful top deck to just get a turn 2 Boros Battle Shaper. Can't do the same with Chrome Mox, though. This is a lot of self-damage. Alright. So the issue this time around is the Boros Battle Shaper on the draw versus White Plume Adventurer is going to trade with it instead of just dominate it in combat. It can still be okay. I can still keep it from attacking, but I can't just, like, cause my opponent's stuff to casually attack into it with no consequences on my end. The Forge happens. I'm gonna get whacked for 5. If Trap also happens this turn, I think my hand was just too slow. That opens up Caves of Chaos Adventurer as well as Seasoned Dungeoneer now. Yeah. I think that means I'm dead. I get drained for 5 off of Trap, and then I get hit for either 5 or 6 more. After the Seasoned Dungeoneer trigger. Okay, it's an Ancient Tomb. I'm at 9. I think I am 100% dead if I miss a land drop. Okay. That's bad. Or no, sorry, I have an Urza Saga in hand. I'm not dead, but Throne of the Dead 3 is very threatening still. Opponent gets to draw a card off of Archives. And after the regular draw, they're at 5 cards. This is tough. Oh, that's neat. Yes. Yeah. Makes sense. Try to Didgeridoo it. Oh, Source of Plowshare is OP. I will concede there. I'm either dead or effectively dead at that point. No changes to sideboarding. Resubmit this as is. Okay, this one has a Force of Will, but I don't really have mana to do my thing. This one's gonna be a mulligan. Oh boy. So I can Force of Negation a piece of artifact mana, and that buys me time. But if I do that, I have no cantrip to try and find a Didgeridoo. So if I keep this, I probably have to keep it, ponder looking for Didgeridoo. Play Didgeridoo on turn 2, and on turn 3 I start vomiting stuff into play. That is slower than what my opponent is going to do. On 6, I accept this. I'm just not happy about it. And let's see if we're dead. Oh shit, it's a Didgeridoo. It's actually a very fast Didgeridoo. Well, that Chrome Mox, that was very good. That was about the optimal set of cards that I could look at there. That doesn't mean I win. Like, if my opponent just plays a turn 1 White Plume Adventurer, I'm in fucking trouble. Yeah, so if I kept the Force of Negation, I would have Force of Negationed that. Yep. Okay, life's bad. I picked up Plains. This will attack as something that has 5 toughness, so I could trade with it. But I think I need to take the initiative back and then try to spiral the game out of control instead. So let's Chrome Mox, imprinting the legendary creature here. And then drop a Didgeridoo into play. And I guess I need to work towards finding a Boros Battle Shaper? Memory serves, the top card of my library isn't great. and take some degree of risk to try and dig towards one. See how bad this attack trigger is. Pretty bad. White Plume Adventurer is rough. I'm at 15. And this White Plume is going to come down. They're going right side here. I just mentally had assumed that I was taking 7 this turn. I didn't even pay attention to that. Okay. End of turn, activate this. Is there a world where I put this one in first to just get extra 2/3 Minotaurs? I don't think so. I think trying to find the Battle Shaper matters more than a couple extra 2/3s. I just don't think I'm beating my opponent long term. I think to untap that. Maybe I fucked up. Forgot about that. So if I attack with this, my opponent attacks with both. Or sorry, blocks with both. I leave them with a White Plume in play. Did I beat that in combat? Let's see what my opponent wants to do with this here. Alright, they are going for the double block. We'll trade these. And then I just get to make another one on my turn that can block the White Plume. I have to take the initiative on my next turn, though. I don't think I can beat Throne of the Dead 3 here. Okay. How bad is this? Caves of Chaos Adventurers, or worse, Seasoned Dungeoneer, are both problems. Seasoned Dungeoneer giving this protection from creatures is rough. Alright. Alright, they get a 6/6 White Plume. At which point, I think, unless the top card of my deck is just an absolute banger, like, I don't even think Boros Battle Shaper is enough anymore. Protection from creatures. I can't ambush that in combat. I also don't beat this in combat. Like, I can stop it from attacking, but this other stuff is just going to kill me. It costs me 2 life to Didgeridoo. Yeah, I don't think I can win. Like, I'll activate this. I'll put in Sethron, and maybe I can create enough bodies to do something, but I don't really think so. Like, even with 4 bodies, like, with Forge and Trap coming up, it's too much. My opponent gets to untap everything as well. Let's ponder. Well, there's the Boros Battle Shaper. That's the card that can do something. So let's figure out where this goes. So I put this onto the battlefield. Gives me a bonus Minotaur. I go to combat. Who must attack or block? Seasoned Dungeoneer. Who cannot. Hexproof! No! White Plume can't attack or block then. Oh, Hexproof 2. Alright, whatever. This at least allows me to get the Seasoned Dungeoneer out of the way. Which is an acceptable trade. I'm fighting, folks. I'm fighting as hard as I fucking can. But I'm basically on a 1-turn clock. I think once Trap drains me to 1, and I can't put in more Minotaurs, I'm in trouble. This Menace is also a problem. Alright, Boros Battle Shaper. Menace token probably has to attack. I trade it for my Minotaurs. Or no, maybe this small White Plume has to attack. Yeah, small White Plume has to attack. Big White Plume can't attack. And now I can block this here. Block Skeleton token with 2 Minotaurs. And end up in an okay position, assuming my opponent does not have a combat trick. Block. 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 I lose 1 Minotaur in this combat. My opponent loses most of... Or, sorry, I lose both Minotaurs in this combat. No. Fucking stop. Just stop. The trap means that I can't activate Ancient Tomb anymore. I need a land? This is not a land. I haven't taken the initiative at all yet? Okay, this is fine, actually, then. Wait, is it? You can't block. I just have to let them keep the initiative? So if I attack and they don't block, it's very good for me. They get my basic land and I can put in a Minotaur. But if they do block, I am dead on board. I can't do that. I just have to pass the turn and hope they have nothing. Damn. So, again, I think if they have another initiative card, I am dead. Throne of the Dead 3 almost certainly does something that impacts the game strongly enough that I just lose to it. Still barely fending off the last Throne of the Dead 3 activation. Okay, that kills me. Can't block, 2 things, get in. Well, I put up a hell of a fight. This is only turn 5? Fuck. Ugh. Okay, I think I'm comfortable keeping this hand. I don't love that my first land drop is very likely to be Otawara, but I have Didgeridoo and Boros Battleshaper already. Let's see if we're playing against initiative or not initiative. So honestly, for me, like, I am fine playing with, like, new and interesting builds of initiative as, like, the format develops and changes around them. Like, we've had Blue-Red Delver Stagnancy for so long, so, like, even if, like, the initiative is maybe not the most healthy mechanic, it's at least different, and I'll take that personally. Okay, my opponent waited the entire timer that is acceptable before, like, they took any game actions. Are you really gonna sit here and fucking waste 30 minutes of my time? Okay, you are going to play Magic. Yeah, opponent says sorry in chat. No, don't say sorry, be better. Like, you have wasted a lot of my time here. Play around Stifle, play around Wasteland, play around Stifle, play around Wasteland, play around Stifle. Didgeridoo into Boros Battleshaper next turn. Alright, annoying. Okay, sure, Flooded Strand is fine. My hand has gotten significantly worse. Stifle is also more of a real card now. Don't think I get the luxury to play around it. Let's brainstorm. Ooh, I found a Didgeridoo. Don't want either one of these cards right now. I will fetch on my opponent's turn. I don't want to play Didgeridoo this turn when I think it's pretty likely. Cycle Timeless Dragon. Okay, cool. Less likely that I have to fight around a Stifle. I'm still gonna fetch here. Fine. Anyway, finishing my thought. I can play Didgeridoo around Soft Permission next turn by playing out Ancient Tomb. And then I also don't expose it to Prismatic Ending before I get a chance to activate it. Am I fighting over that card? Or am I just fighting over a removal spell on my 5/5? Or am I fighting over Didgeridoo for that matter? I think I have to let that go. Like, card's very good. Very, very, very good. But it's not fighting over the way that I win the game. And I think this combination of cards is more important to protect than, like, my opponent's, or to fight over than my opponent's card advantage. And I'm not going to fire off an end of turn brainstorm. I am much, much, much more interested. Okay, cool. That has just resolved. An opponent has told me that they don't have counter spells. So my opponent is down like 8 minutes of time. I think I put in this one first. That's fine. I still have a 5/4. A touch annoying. That probably just means that I win the game next turn, so it's fine. Crash in for 5, and just pass the turn. Okay, do I want to Force of Will that? I think I probably do. The damage is just very relevant. Alright, get rid of your Dress Down. This is a thing. This is a thing that can come back in this turn cycle. I don't think it matters too much. I think if my opponent taps out, make a 4/4, that's not going to end up going well for them. Order? 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 Question mark, question mark, question mark. That's no shuffle. I will brainstorm end of turn. I would love to find a fetch land in particular. And Urza Saga. That's not bad. Put back 2 creatures. Activate Didgeridoo. Put in Moraug. And once I put in Boros Battleshaper, my opponent is deterministically dead. Activate Didgeridoo. Put in Boros Battleshaper. Timeless Dragon cannot attack or block. Is it this turn? This combat. Interesting wording. Oh, but this triggers at the beginning of each combat. So that is just gonna stack up. Don't need to do that. Then I make my land drop. It's gonna give me an additional combat step. My opponent has said cool. It most certainly is. What do I want versus this opponent? I didn't see very much of their deck, but they're clearly playing a control deck. Lands were they playing? Pay close enough attention to their lands. The game 1 plan's probably fine. Blasts are probably reasonable for EIs. Force of Negation is okay. It's good for like Prismatic Ending and EI, which are always happening on my opponent's turn. Pithing Needle is playable, Soul Guide Lantern's playable. Currency Converter's probably actively good here. Lantern out. Lantern becomes a blast. I still want Chrome Mox. That acceleration still probably matters if I am going to attempt to do standstill stuff, which I think I am. Yeah, I don't have room for the Pithing Needle. My opponent almost certainly has like Teferis. Maybe I don't play the Force of Negations. Yeah, do something that looks like this instead. Okay. Hand has turn 1 Didgeridoo, turn 2 Standstill. That's gonna be a keep. Bulk is fine. It's a little annoying if I lose Didgeridoo to Prismatic Ending here, but I don't really think that I can take the turn off to play around a Spell Pierce. I also think the Spell Pierce is probably a one-of in my opponent's deck list. Got me. Based on similar deck lists that I have seen online, that Spell Pierce is a one-of. I'm pretty confident about that. Like, it is what it is. We'll just kind of see where this goes. I would like to draw... Oh. Well, I should probably play that before playing Standstill. Play it around a Spell Pierce this turn, and still get Prismatic Endinged. Possible I'm supposed to wait a turn on that, but I think if my opponent Prismatic Endings this out of play, then they can't play a threat. Yeah, your EI is fine. Alright, you got a Misty. You have no Prismatic Ending. Do I stand still? I think I stand still to protect my cards here. A little awkward if it gets countered, but otherwise it's pretty good. Okay, we are getting a response. And this is going to be a Tundra into a Brainstorm. Into a Brainstorm. And still has resolved. And I will beat a cycled Timeless Dragon pretty easily. Ooh, that's scary. Not scary anymore. It's a shame that I don't have red mana available. I could have taken 2 on my turn to better play into this spot. Let's Force of Will that, pitching Ponder. Nice. Oh, yes. Stand still with this. Leaving up 3 mana for a Didgeridoo activation. I should fetch now, though. If I'm going to do that. This probably needs to be Volcanic Island. So I can leave my appropriate colors up. Okay. Hornstill. Absolutely slapping right now. Oh wow, they're just straight up playing into it. Well, I guess they need to, right? Like, Didgeridoo will presumably drown them if they don't. I'll take 3 cards. You get that Uro. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to activate Didgeridoo right now, so that containment, like land plus containment priest can't be a thing. I don't think I'm worried about sorcery speed answers. But containment priest would really suck right here. Let's Didgeridoo right now. I think putting in the value creature so that it's better versus Swords to Plowshares. Oh, it's possible I'm supposed to put this one in. It's worse against Swords to Plowshares, but if it lives, it can dig me for a blue card. Is certainly relevant. Legendary creature. Also legendary creatures, not legendary creature. Okay, I am losing my Didgeridoo, and I don't have a blue card to force. That is what it is. I don't think my situation's that bad, though, because, like, I'm definitely just in Hardcast Idiots range. I think I play this. Can't play this and give haste in the same turn. I can just hold up counter magic for this turn cycle. I can just hold up Hardcast Force with Red Elemental Blast backup. I think that's actually my line for right now, as weird as that is. It's so unfortunate that I didn't hit a blue card. Like, my blue card count isn't the highest in this deck, so, like, that is what it is. My opponent having Karakas here was super unfortunate. Force of Will. I don't think I hold... I don't think I take 2 more damage to hold up Red Elemental Blast here. Like, my life total is very much going to be a finite resource. Sure. Oh, that's insane. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is 8 total mana to play this and activate. Not having access to triple red's really awkward.
Opponent technically doesn't have access to Uro yet, but it probably happens.
Oh, I actually don't have triple red for this either. Okay, so that just means I'm attacking in and holding up Red Elemental Blast. That's incredibly awkward for me. I also shouldn't have played that Urza Saga out until post-combat, but I don't think it matters much. Opponent's at 17. And let's see what they've got end of turn. Mystic Sanctuary for EI. Alright, so that BS is beginning. Do I need to stop that? Probably can't. It's so much more important for me to answer the Uro if my opponent can put it into play. Alright, yeah, there's a Flooded Strand that allows an attempt on Uro. Yeah, blue, blue, green, green. And we'll Red Elemental Blast that. It's still a problem later, but hopefully later can be dealt with via Urza Saga. Or alternatively, Karakas can be dealt with via Urza Saga, and then I just overpower an Uro. Okay. Yeah, we're answering Karakas long term. Shark Typhoon. That's good. That's what I'm doing with my turn. And we're cycling that. Don't even consider that we would do anything else. We're not casting that card. Opponent's at 13, and I have some very scary stuff coming. The Urza Saga Construct tokens aren't the best versus, like, Dress Down, which is something that my opponent could reasonably have in hand. The Urza Saga is incredibly strong when backed up by this Shark Typhoon. Yep, that's fine. Alright, Windswept Heath is okay. By the way, if we go to another game, Ruination is coming in. So let's make an Urza Saga Construct token. Okay, sure. Dress down me immediately. Force of Vigor. Well, that's very good. Still think I go ahead and do this right now. The damage right now matters so much here. Like, I can do it for a couple more next turn, but the sooner I work towards killing my opponent's stuff, the better for me. Oh, yeah. So this can do some gross stuff this turn. Here's a Saga. Didgeridoo. I activate now, actually. I'm going to activate now and pump. It's worth a substantial amount of damage. My stuff gets bounced by Karakas. I think that's fine. Enskin Boo as a top deck is scary if I do that, though. If I go for double activation. I think I hold up Boros Battle Shaper instead. Just crash in for the 5. Okay. Opponent goes to 7. We'll call it a turn. Wasteland's annoying, but not the end of the world. Timing? Like, you can brainstorm first and make your decisions after you have more information. Like, you are probably going to Wasteland that Urza Saga because it's very threatening, but, like, you could have just locked yourself in a position where you virtually have no outs. Yeah, yep, knew that was coming. That card doesn't matter. That card doesn't get to block, and my opponent is definitely taking more than 7 on their turn. So I'm activating this twice. I don't want both Boros Battle Shapers in play, but I don't need both in play right now. I guess both in play is fine. Like, I can try to grind value with activations of other stuff. This seems okay. I'll activate again. Put in the second Boros Battle Shaper. That's fine. Double Source to Plowshares is annoying. This is Menace, right? No, yeah, Menace and Haste. Yeah, so it's going to be fine. I'll wait till after I draw. Wall. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is probably put this in. No, I want to didgeridoo it in. Put Sethron into play. If I activate right now, this is 9 damage and my opponent is not dead. I will not do that. I will just go ahead and activate again. Opponent should bounce in response here. He did not. Don't care about anything blocking. You cannot attack or block. My opponent for 5. I guess I extended a little bit too much into Supreme Verdict specifically. Yeah. Would have gone for the Sethron play instead. Or Terminus, sure. That's annoying. Alright, so this Uro stuff is going to happen. I should really stop F6ing my opponent's turns, just to slow them down. I'll just time out my opponent, since they spent so long just not playing Magic at the beginning. Yeah, I think it's time to start grinding individual seconds, as boring as that is. Force of Vigor is very good for them here. I'll still play land drops. That's fine. Burrow's very good. Brainstorm, also very good. That was a very fast brainstorm. Okay, they have failed to find. There goes an Uro. And it goes to 9. End of turn. I'll put in a creature. This doesn't do much right now, so I'm chilling. Yep, that's fine. And now my whole game plan is going to be put in stuff with Didgeridoo, force my opponent to bounce with Caracas, and then potentially, eventually connect. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so like, if I take the damage this turn, I can get a Neheb activation, but I think it's just better to physically waste my opponent's time rather than try to actually win the game. Yeah, so like, that buys a considerable amount of time. I'll fetch, find an island. Do I actually Neheb now? No, I think I intend on winning a game 3 here. Put this into play, and just block. And all we're doing is wasting my opponent's time. Because, like, I know the Force of Vigor in their hand means that Didgeridoo is not going to be a thing for very long. Alright. This Uro comes crashing in. Not great for me. I go to 5. So, let's cast some spells into a Narset, shall we? So this Uro is going to attack and kill me here. Is fine. I'll fetch. Get an island. And die to Uro. That's fine. I now have time to win this game in a way that my opponent doesn't. Yeah, opponent says GG, I don't have time. I don't feel bad about it, because you made me wait for 7 minutes and 59 seconds or whatever it was. Just a couple seconds before you would have timed out due to inactivity. My opponent's got Force of Vigor. I can probably go down further on Chrome Mox. Then get rid of this. Put an Aether Spell Bomb in. And out to an Uro. And then, like, maybe one of these. A Soul Guide Lantern comes in. Over, like, one Standstill or something. The opponent says submit and I'll concede. Cool. Alright. GG's, I guess. Alright, final round here. Taking a little lunch break. I'm back to recording. This has no plan. Auto mulligan. On 6, I'll keep this. Do I want Ancient Tomb? I don't think I want Ancient Tomb. So, the kind of problem with this hand is that I have to find multiple things in order for this hand to be good in most cases. Although pondering for an Urza's Saga specifically would solve a lot of problems. Yeah. Yeah, I do that. I'm gonna keep the Force of Will on top. And hope that I don't have to use it. But there's so much initiative, it's just absolutely everywhere right now. Having Force as a safety net is a-okay. Okay. Probably not an initiative deck after that. think I just play Mountain into Didgeridoo and don't Brainstorm this turn. The downside of missing is pretty high. Like, Brainstorm locking myself in this situation would be bad. Do I care enough to Force of Will? I think so, but it's close. Like, this is barely Force of Will. Like, it's embarrassing if my opponent just casts a Prismatic Ending after I do this. But if I were in their position and I had a Prismatic Ending in hand, I would never fire off Force of Will on that card. So, nice. Man. Well, okay. I don't want to Brainstorm yet. That's annoying. I probably have to Brainstorm here. Real bad if I don't find a fetch or something else relevant to do. That's something else relevant to do. That's fine. Is a thing that could happen. My opponent's on 3 cards, though. I think I just go for it. Putting Battle Shaper back. And Volk back. Let's try to bring this game to a standstill. Now, it is possible that we could be playing against, like, a Shark Typhoon deck or an Urza Saga deck or something. But this standstill probably is very good for me. I'm just going to make this land drop and see if my opponent wants to wasteland it. I think the answer is a resounding no. But there's going to be a lot of draw go here. And I'm hitting land drops while my opponent isn't, so that's good for me. Okay, they did hit a land drop this time. Okay, looking at Bant control, could be more colors than just that. I wonder if my deck is supposed to have, like, a Tundra to help cast this card. For the times when the games go long. Okay. Standstill happens. I will Brainstorm in response, maybe twice. Currency Converter a lot worse versus Narset. I'm supposed to just fire off this Brainstorm again. Purely to use my mana. Brainstorm is otherwise going to be locked in my hand for a few turns. I guess I can Currency Converter on my opponent's turn. I'd probably just put back 2 lands, redraw one of them. Alright. My opponent is maybe favored now, but it's a little hard to tell. So let's fetch. One more basic I can get. I guess I'll just do that. And then let's attempt a creature that comes with a friend. Force of Will backing up this Narset would be very strong. Yeah. Now I'm in this awkward situation where I have multiple Boros Battle Shapers that I can't really do anything with right now. And my opponent stops my cantrips. Or mostly stops them. Yeah, sure. If they fire off this Wasteland willy-nilly, and I get to just play an Urza Saga, like, so good with that. Okay, no firing off of Wastelands. So this is just going to eat Swords to Plowshares. Confirming this is 1 card per turn, right? Yep. So I can Currency Converter. Also play Soul Guide. Just playing this into Swords to Plowshares is not the greatest. Maybe I just need to get that card out of the way, though. Maybe I just need to get that card out of the way, though. I'll play my Neheb. And I think I just play Soul Guide Lantern this turn. And bracket at my opponent's end step in case that becomes relevant. This can also just chill and keep an Uro from getting into play. There's the swords that I was expecting. Very unsure about Soul Guide Lantern. Because, like, Uro is really difficult to beat right now. Probably means that I can't crack it. Yeah, sure. I guess it's also insurance for something like a Timeless Dragon. Red means Minsk and Boo is something that I have to worry about as well. Okay, sure. Aha. Alright. I'll draw a card in response. Can't draw more than 1 card each turn. I have not drawn a card this turn. I will convert that rather than Tormod's Crypt to my opponent's graveyard. Ancient Tomb is not what I'm looking for. Ponder's quite bad. I think I Currency Converter the Ancient Tomb away on my opponent's turn. The Uro's not that big of an issue if I can get a Boros Battle Shaper into play. But that's a pretty big if here. Okay, they just found an Uro. I'm on a short-ish clock. The combination of Narset stopping my stuff and kind of bricking on draws after this standstill was rough in conjunction. Opponent not using their Urza Saga didn't help me either. I guess get rid of something that can become a 2/2. Want another one of those. Okay. I'll play a Saga. It's not doing me any good. I have the mana necessary to hardcast these in terms of, like, amount, just not in terms of color type. Oh, maybe that means I was supposed to treasure, discarding Ancient Tomb. Probably what that means. I messed up. Okay. So they had another Uro in hand previously. Okay. Oh, opponent says not the Uro I meant to cast, lol. No worries. But yeah, casting the one from Graveyard would have been better there. Alright. Let's loot with Currency Converter rather than kill Narset, I think. Oh shit, do both. Discard Ancient Tomb. Use that ability. Now, opponent does have a single white available. It is possible they have a Source to Plowshares and can mess with what I'm about to do. But if they don't, this is pretty hot. It's an instant speed, 3/3. It's not going to draw me a card. However, cycling does discard, so I can put it under this. And let's see if this 3/3 gets anywhere. Fuck. Did not. Lost some value by choosing to do that this turn since they did have the swords. Okay, do I want to cast Boros Battleshaper? Probably. So let's turn Ancient Tomb into a treasure. And do the full 7 mana for a Boros Battleshaper. Force of Will is now interesting. Leaving the Uro sitting in play is definitely risky. Do I just force that? Probably just force that and try to protect this. Let's see how this works out. Okay. Can find a Force of Will, a Force of Negation, or maybe a Spell Pierce if they're playing that. Or I guess another Swords. Okay, it's a Prismatic Ending on my Currency Converter. Cool. Oh. That's gonna be good. Assuming that I actually do kill this Narset here. Which it seems like it's pretty likely that that's happening. Narset's dead. Cast a Standstill. My opponent's Uro is still very strong, but I do get a draw 3 to try to help with my situation. Finding a Didgeridoo is strong. Finding a Standstill is strong. Well, no, finding a Standstill is strong. Alright, draw 3. Okay, Saga's great. Ponder's also not bad. Okay, sure. Alright, Uro, you can't attack or block this turn. I got you, bud. Not sure if I want to ponder this turn. Oh. I can just play that, right? Boros Battleshaper on board beats that. I will absolutely ponder this turn now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 mana this turn. So I can play Neheb and then Standstill. Do I fetch? Do I play Urza Saga? These are just castable cards. I think I keep them. I'll do my combat first. Alright, Uro can't attack or block. Oh, I made it must attack. Sure. Take 5, go to 20. Play Urza Saga. 1, 2, 4. Play Neheb. And play a new Standstill. Nice. I attacked first with the Boros Battleshaper because that was going to be good enough to get Swords to Plowshares. If they Source the Plowshares after I cast that, it's a little awkward for me. Okay, sure. Oh, they're just going now. Ooh! I'm not Force of Willing that, because I know my top cards. So that's gonna be good. My opponent... Ooh. I don't know that that was the right move. I just get to dominate combat. I probably force this to attack. And then I say Uro can't attack or block. Combat damage to a player is... Yeah, I think I just take this hit for 4. A trade here. Alright, cool. Sorcery Speed Endurance. Targeting nobody. They're just playing around hardcast Force of Will. Ooh, buddy. Do I have to attack both creatures at Minskin Boo here to kill it? How much mana do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8. I could cast this, give my Minotaurs Menace and Haste, and completely dominate this turn. That seems better than making one extra Urza Saga Construct token. So let's fetch. Oh shit. Out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I can't actually do that line. I guess let's kill Endurance then. So Uro can't attack or block. And both at Minsk and Boo. Endurance gets in the way of one of them. The other one kills. Move this off to the far side so that I remember. Player or Planeswalker? Wild. Okay. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Done. Doesn't empty till end of turn. Play a Didgeridoo. The things can get wild. I just sorcery speed. Make my Urza Saga token here. If I play one of these now, I can just Didgeridoo it in later if I want. I also might cycle Shark Typhoon. Yeah, that's fine. Oh wow, going for Expressive Iteration over just Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares on the Battle Shaper is very strong right now. But I understand wanting the value. Okay, yep, do your EI thing. I found Misty. Okay. So, Boo, you must attack. Uro, you can't attack. I think at this point I go ahead and activate a Didgeridoo. Put this in. I'll just trade this away. This is legendary. I don't really mind losing this. Cool. And we're chilling. Activate an Urza Saga. A bonus construct token. Run another Didgeridoo. I probably just Pithing Needle Minsk and Boo. In case there's another. Bye. I just loot away these two cards with Neheb. Alright. Send in with all of this. Endurance is fine. You can take out my Minotaur and take 14. I am good with that. Alright, cool. Loot away my 2 bad cards. Get 2 bonus mana. If I had kept a land there, would have just gotten an extra combat. Should I try to Shark Typhoon into a land? That's probably unnecessary. Do 6 total mana. I guess cast a Standstill. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Casual third Standstill of the game. Yeah, you can fetch. Ruination is gonna look hot. That's a good ponder for me. Oh, stick, it's another Boros Battle Shaper. Now, probably very hard for me to lose. That's chosen to shuffle. Rest of iteration is fine. Deck has a lot more legs than I was expecting it to. Okay, so my opponent found Uro off of it. And now they can just cast 2 Uros in an attempt to stay alive. Is a-okay with me. Wonder how many fetchables my opponent actually has. I imagine we're getting down to it here. Okay, they still have some. Again, this is fine. This is just some bonus life gain. Okay, they're up to 9, and they're dead on board. GG's. Yes. Does this game basically come down to, like, don't lose to Uro, and I probably win the very, very, very long game? It might. Inskaboo dodges these. I don't think they're worth playing. I'll play some amount of this stuff. I think this game goes on super long most of the time. I'm going to board out all of the Chrome Mox. From there, it's a little harder to know exactly what I'm supposed to board out. Like, all of this stuff is very reasonable. I could go down Forces. Going down Forces makes my standstills way worse, though. My starting point is these 3 cards. I feel like I need at least one more anti-Uro card, and, like, Fury is so reasonable as a way to clear Narset off the board. And just as a card to cast for 5 mana as well. Go down 1 Standstill, 1 Force of Will to play 2 Fury. I probably won't miss those cards. Ooh. This is a keep. It's a weird keep, but it's a keep. Ruination is a Magic the Gathering card right now. That is what I have to say about it. Yep. No shuffle there. As much as I can, I'm going to try to play out basic lands. But, look at the hand, is all I'm saying. Do I care about that? I think I care about that in that I don't want my opponent to have a creature on board when I cast Standstill, but otherwise, I don't think right now I actually care about that card that much. Basic land, hell yeah. That's what I'm looking for. This is basic island into cast a Standstill. I don't have an immediate way to win, like I don't have an immediate Urza Saga or anything like that, but my hand's weak right now, so I can absolutely use the time to just make land drops. Oh, we're going now? We can go now. Okay. This draws me 3 cards, and then I can just Ruination away 4 of my opponent's lands while I keep 2 lands in play. This is going to be good for me. Now, admittedly, like, my opponent can have Force of Will blue card, but didn't have it last turn. Alright, they're just going to bounce that to hand. Hello. And good luck. Ruination. Hell yeah. That is a hard reset that is strongly in my favor. Doesn't mean the game is over. But, like, when my opponent is planning on playing, like, Uros and stuff like that, puts a lot of strain on them. It's possible I could have waited for longer, but then something like Uro or Minsc and Boo might slip through, and that's not really great for me. Let's brainstorm here and try to smooth out this hand. Probably just put back 2 lands. Fetch, Ponder, Didgeridoo. They Prismatic Ending it, they Prismatic Ending it. If they do, I just hardcast something cool next turn. That's totally fine with me. This needs to be a Volcanic Island so that I have red next turn. I could Didgeridoo with Pyroblast up instead. Or I could just Ponder with Didgeridoo up, actually. No, I don't care about them casting a Prismatic Ending. Let's just Didgeridoo. Okay, there's the Prismatic Ending. That's fine. Again, the plan was just to hardcast something big and dumb if my opponent had Prismatic Ending, and they've missed a land drop here. So this game's going to spiral out of control very quickly in my favor. I mean, literal miracle. That's fine. I'll just cast a Fury as a double striker here. Like, when opponent is missing land drops and has 1 land in play, 6 power a turn kills people real fast. Sure, that's fine. Very good. Yeah. Wasteland is kind of good for my opponent. Only kind of, though. Like, it's technically a land drop, but it's not going to work towards Uro, which feels very important right now. Ponder. Weird. Very weird. It forces my opponent to wasteland me, or I get a giant dumb creature. So I probably take it. That means I keep Scalding Tarn above it. Cast Didgeridoo. My opponent needs to... Or no, they can't stop me from doing it. I just float the mana in response. Okay, cool. Then with Moraug on top, that should pretty much be GG. Or sorry, with a fetch land on top for Moraug. Ruination, putting in work. Which is good, because I got pretty low on clock this time. They chose to not shuffle. Might mean something like Terminus on top, but that is not gonna matter. Moraug. Does so much damage. Attack. Opponent goes to 11. And then 0. GG's, we end up with the 3-2 with Hornstill. Alright, so we got the 3-2. How do I feel about the deck list at the end of the day? Obviously, this is a for fun deck list, but it's a surprisingly powerful for fun deck list. I have played with Boros Battleshaper before, but this is probably the best that it has ever looked for me. The ability to stop the initiative creatures from attacking and the ability to stop singular cards like Uro from taking over a game is way better than I was anticipating it. Like, I knew this card was good, but this card absolutely slapped today. And secondary shoutouts to Moraug, who finished some games that otherwise would have been tough. I think Sethron would have been better, but a couple of the times where we had it, my opponent had Karakas, which made life a little bit awkward. I think I want the 4th Didgeridoo in the deck list, like, especially since Boros Battleshaper is not castable with the mana base as it is here. Like, being able to pair that with this feels important to me. And being able to play Didgeridoo on turn 1 and then at least some portion of the time just immediately go into activating it is a real way to win a game. And I think I want to maximize the chances of that happening. I think I want to turn Otawara into a Tundra. That gives me 1 more fetchable for the games that go extremely long, and it also allows me to cast Boros Battleshaper in a pinch for when things that have really gone wrong. As far as other changes to the deck list, I like a lot of the stuff that's here. I could see wanting to play a Shadow Spear in the sideboard for some of the creature mirrors where, like, I take a beating early. It's not like we have a ton of creatures, but we probably have enough where that's a viable sideboard card. I like the things that are here. The numbers feel about right. This deck gets a thumbs up from me. I enjoyed playing this deck, although the matches were long, but when you sign up for Standstill, like, you know that's coming. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot. Would love to hear your thoughts about the deck lists in the comments, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!